Greetings from sunny Florida. It is a little bit chilly here today, but I'm not complaining. As you can see, the ocean is behind me. This is my home for the next 3 months with a new travel nurse assignment. So anyway, I promised you guys that I would get a video out to you this week. I need to let you know why I've been missing in action and what I'm working on currently toward the Raising Hell project. So I just want to start off by having you hold on to a verse that I was thinking about today. Jesus said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." So just hold on to that. So first of all, why I've been missing in action. This last year has just been kind of an off the rails year for me. Just, to be candid, I guess the last 10 years I've been deconstructing my religious upbringing, and but I've been always able to be certain and hold on to the light and the good of that. And basically for me that means, for the last 10 years I've always believed that it's a safe universe and that love wins and love is at the foundation. But this year, I guess I just went through some really personal upheaval, which was a reflection of the outer world, which was also an upheaval, as you all know, where I just was deeply questioning this. And this has led to me having a lot of questions about who I am and why I'm here and my significance. I've also had a lot of identity changes over the last year with career and personal and geographical. I honestly have just felt at certain times over this last year like I am adrift on the Atlantic Ocean in a storm, floating on a little piece of wood, and I have nothing to look forward. Nothing to hold on to, nothing to anchor to. As all I see are big waves around me, and it's been a really scary, unsettling, insecure time. And there's been times this year where I've just been kind of paralyzed in that. And it's hard for me to talk about because, I want to be the one to give people hope and stability and encouragement through this difficult deconstruction process. But honestly, all of my inner resources have been turned on their head this year. And I'm not sorry about this because I feel like this is a really important thing for me to understand. I know talking to a lot of you, you're in this place, and it's really good for me to understand how this feels when you feel out of hope. As a lot of you know, I went to the Zuni Indian Reservation in New Mexico this past fall, which was probably the worst place I could go in this mental and spiritual state that I've been in, because I feel like it's a spiritual deep state swampland. I was in a place of utter isolation and lockdown for 3 months. Every day I had to go through a checkpoint to go to work, and I had to tell them where I was going and why. I wasn't allowed to do anything on the weekends you had to wear a mask everywhere. I don't even believe in masks. I just felt completely alone and isolated, and bereft is really a good word. And it just made me not even able to interact on the Raising Hell page. I felt really bad about that, but I just had no inner resources. So I do want to tell you that there is a light at the end of this. I'm not going to slit my wrists on camera, although I thought about it a couple times this fall. I'm going to give you the spark of light that has come through with all of this for me. The first thing is I had to be really proactive in the last couple of months to help get myself out of that dark place. And I've done that through a few methods, talking to people that I love. I've really limited my access or exposure to anything negative. I never watch mainstream media news because it's all lies. But I do watch a few YouTubes here and there, and I had to insulate myself from anything negative or doom and gloom. I've also just spent a lot of time trying to get back into reading things that I know uplift my spirit. A few books that I've been spending time with to help get me out of my doomsday depressed state are Richard Rohr, A Spring Within Us. I've been working through this book now for about 3 years, and it is like chock full of beautiful, encouraging, loving, deep, inspiring perspectives. It's a daily meditation book, and they're pretty short. Sometimes I'll go through like 5 or 6 of the meditations in a day. Another book that I've been going through this year, well, actually for 3 years now, I go through it once a year, The Sophia Code. Oh my gosh, by Kaya Ra. This is a beautiful, empowering, phenomenal book that I recommend if you are seeking the path of the feminine divine consciousness. And then last but not least, I mean, there's other things, but these are kind of primary. And yes, I use weird bookmarks. This is a leaf. The Presence Process by Michael Brown. This is a journey that you go through of meditation and addressing like your wounds, and whether they're physical problems or psychic or spiritual problems. This book walks you through just a beautiful process of facing your wounds and healing them. Also, to help me get out of those dark places, always listening to music that resonates with me. Meditation. I've been trying to meditate at least 15 to 30 minutes a day, trying to eat well, organic, whole foods, avoid any kind of processed sugar most of the time, except that week around Christmas. It was really bad. It always is. There's another verse I want to share with you out of Matthew 6:22, and now I'm going to kind of get into the meat of the things I want to tell you that I've been thinking about lately. And I do have a light at the end of the tunnel. I feel like I'm coming back out the other side. I feel like there is this necessary walk that we all have to go through, this dualistic consciousness of both the dark and the light and the good and the evil. And I kind of knew it at a conscious level that we had to do this, but not so much an experiential level of the evil. And I think a lot of it is just over the last year I've been really red-pilled about, and if you don't know, that's a reference to the movie The Matrix. I've just kind of had a new awakening about how evil and how also unknown this story is. Like, I came into this worldview thinking I had all these answers, and I kind of knew like why we're here and how we got here, and what our purpose is and all these things. And this last year has just completely, like, the bottom fell out of all that, and I realized there was so little that I knew about this story, and it was so unsettling because you grow up thinking you kind of know what's going on, and then suddenly you find out you don't know what's going on, and suddenly you don't know so many things, and you just feel so unsafe. But the other verse that I want to share with you right now is out of Matthew 6:22. It says, "The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye is clear and healthy, then your whole body will be full of light." So I feel like a lot of people believe, and I kind of believe also, that we are at a really pivotal time in history right now where something's got to give. Like, we can no longer stay the way we are. We are on the crossroads of a massive shift with humanity. And there's the doomsdayers that think that this means that we are on the verge of extinction and apocalypse and FEMA camps and being put to death if we don't get a vaccine or we don't fall in line with the slave system. And then there's the other people who believe that we are on the verge of a golden age. They say, all the traditions in the world, be it the Chinese or the Indian, or like as in East Indian, or the Jewish texts or the Mayans, they all had this idea of coming into a golden age when the slaves are finally set free, and it's like the Great Jubilee according to Jewish tradition. All these different countries and regions have a version of that, and they say that even astrologically we're coming into that age. So, you've got one on each side. You've got the doomsdayers that we're about to be basically, all killed off for our beliefs, or, for not being the slaves of the system. And you've got the other people who believe that we're on the verge of something amazing. Most of the people in either of these two camps believe that there is a struggle between good and evil, and one camp believes that good is going to win over evil, and the evil people are going to be, basically done away with, and then the other camp believes that evil is going to win and the good people are going to be done away with. And if you remember the verse we talked about in the beginning, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. I used to think that this meant that someday far off in the future, when I die and go to heaven, and if I had a pure heart, that I would see God. But I feel like the thing that I am being urged to see here is that the pure in heart are the non-dualists, and they are the people who get outside of this either or system, and they're able to see everything as one. And these are the people who see God because they see God in everything. They see God in themselves. They see God in their neighbor. They see God in their enemy. They see God in seashells and mountains and rocks and flowers and clouds and all of the beauty and all of the pain in the world. They see God. I also think of another verse that it says, narrow is the way to life and only few find it. And I don't think that this means that only a few people are saved and everyone else goes off to hell. I think that what this verse is saying is narrow is the path that leads to this vision of accepting the light and the dark as part of the whole, removing yourself from the battle or the fight between good and evil, and seeing everything belongs, everything is God. Everything is a necessary part of the whole. We somehow agreed to come into this story, and yes, I do think that we had a choice and we were complicit in coming into this story somehow. And when we came into this story, it's a very unique story full of these contrasts of the dualism, the knowledge of the tree of good and evil, that is dualism. We come in, we're thrust into a story that is always telling us that we are separate from each other and from God, and that there's good and bad, and there's light and dark. And our entire journey here is about learning how to stop eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and to make that transition over to eating from the tree of life. And the tree of life is just one tree where you see everything belongs, everything is God, everything belongs to God. God fills everything, as Paul said in Ephesians. And that is the narrow road that leads to life. If you can get out of that old dualistic system, suddenly your whole body is full of light because your eye is full of light, and you suddenly see everything as part of what is supposed to be, and it is all good, as God said in Genesis. He looked and he saw the night and the day, he saw the light and the dark, and he said, behold, it is all very good. And I'm not trying to dismiss or minimize suffering here at all. I am not dismissing the fact that we in reality have an experience of suffering and darkness. I mean, I've been going through that myself this whole year. It's not that, it's this ability to say that I can accept all of it as part of the whole, and accept that it is somehow necessary and good, and that love is at the foundation of it all. And I just have to be patient until I get the right perspectives to understand how it all works together. But the only people here in our time that are going to be part of this bringing in a golden age of light and liberation of all beings are the people that can do this. The people who can see with a healthy eye and a clear eye and have their whole body full of light and not reject any part of their body or the body of Christ or the body of all that is. Like, we're all part of God. And so I'm getting ready, as far as what I'm working on, I'm getting ready to work on a chapter for my upcoming book. You guys know I've put out a few chapters. This chapter is the crux of the whole book, and I'm telling you guys, it is going to blow your mind, because I am introducing some ideas that have come into my head about good and evil and villains and heroes it's going to blow your mind. And I hope it challenges you, and I hope you never think about the world the same again. And I hope that you can grasp that you've got to get out of this old us versus them paradigm in order to be healed and to be part of the healing and the solution. If we want to bring in a new golden age on this earth, we are going to have to get out of that old way of thinking where we divide and we separate, and where we recognize that everything truly is one. I'm really excited to bring this chapter to you guys, because it's going to show you how to heal this place in your heart with your enemies. I really think so. It's made an incredible difference in me since I had this. I think it was a download from, the source, and it's really powerful. So anyway, now you know what I've been up to. Thank you guys for all your love and support. I have a deep love and commitment to all of our liberation from these old religious constructs that are just tearing us down and tearing us apart. I'll keep you posted on the chapter. It's such an important chapter that I'll probably make it available here in the group. So for those of you who are wondering, I'm talking about the Facebook group, Raising Hell Book Group. Be sure to look us up. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and it was just nice to be able to share a little bit more vulnerably with you guys. And I would love to hear your comments, and let me know, if you're going through a lot of the same things and how we can encourage each other on this path. So I will see you next time.